how are you as the CEO of Glow Tanning and the ventures that you're also starting? How have you been able to take money and be able to put it in real estate with, you probably don't have that much time to be able to be able to invest it. And there's people that are realtors full time. And so they're fully invested in real estate. But if you have that one business driver, you talk a lot about building that cash flowing business and then taking that money and put it into real estate. So we'd love to see you break that down. And also, like, how can someone with no time or even no money be able to do that for themselves?
Okay, number one, when it comes to time, you make time for what you find important, right? So we can always find time if we find it important enough. That's number one. Number two is, when it comes to me, real estate is not a cash flow play. It does make cash flow. Every single one of my buildings makes good money. I have buildings that make $30,000 a month, and I have buildings that make $5,000 a month, right? It does produce cash flow, but it's not, for me, it's not realized cash flow because I'm using that money to pay down debt. So I've never taken a dollar from real estate and spent a dollar from real estate. I didn't buy a watch because of real estate. I buy my cars and my watches and live my lifestyle and invest my money from Glow. So I have a cash flowing business that makes a ton of cash. I take that money and then I live on it and I reinvest it. I probably reinvest about 90% of what I make. And then the other 10% is what I live on, and do everything else. So I would say the biggest thing is, like, cash is king. So you want to be able to know how to properly use debt, right? So knowing how to properly use debt, creative financing is huge. When you have money, things actually become easier. It's kind of really weird, but things become easier and you actually have to use less money, right? So it's just creative financing and doing things like that to where it actually makes sense, and also how motivated is the person or the seller. So I find locations in areas where maybe something's been sitting for a while. Maybe I have to slightly overpay for something. Like, they have it listed, like, say a building is worth $4 million. They have it listed at 4.5 million. Everybody is coming in at 3.8 or 4 million or 4.1, and I go to the owner and I say, hey, listen, I'm willing to buy this building. I'll give you 4.3 million for it, but I want you to hold a second mortgage, for $800,000. So at close, you're going to get 3.5 million, and over the next 3 years, I'm going to amortize the second mortgage over 20 years. We'll do a 3-year balloon, right? So let's say interest rates right now are 8%, but I'll give them an offer at, like, say 4%, right? So I'm making very small payments, or you can even do interest only payments. Interest only payments at 4 or 5% for 3 years. After the 3 years, now it's a balloon payment of the 800,000. Well, in 3 years, right, you've done everything you want to do to the building. You've added new tenants. You've upped the rents. If you own a business, you've added your own business in there, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Now I go back to the bank in 3 years. I refinance the deal, and I refinance in the $800,000 that I owe them. So I just got that building for $0 down. The building's cash flowing and paying for the debt. Because I do not care about making a dollar off of the building, right? Then that's how I would do my deal, because I'm doing it as a wealth play. So that building is going to appreciate in value, and then over time that building is going to decrease in debt, right? So a commercial building is typically financed on a 20-year deal, 15 to 20-year deal. So in 20 years, that building's paid off. I'm in my mid-30s now. When I'm in my mid-50s, I have an asset that I bought for $4.3 million that's now worth $8 to $10 million. If we go with the typical rate of inflation on real estate, a commercial real estate over the last 20 years, now it's worth $10 million. I owe $0 on it. Even though I've made, not much from the investment through the life of having the building, but I have a $10 million asset that I literally have taken $0 out of my pocket. That's a pretty good play.
When you first started out Glow, you were doing a bunch of different businesses. You had the marketing agency, you had Glow, you did the chauffeur, and then you decided to part ways with those different things and you decided to focus all in pretty much on Glow. At what point do you feel like it's okay for entrepreneurs to diversify their income streams and start building businesses alongside their main source of income?
That's an amazing question. So I need to start, you know how celebrities get the prep questions beforehand? I need to start. I'm not a celebrity, but I need to give our prep questions because that's an amazing question. So, so just off the top of the dome, I'll say this. Really, when you're making enough money where you can invest 50% of what you make in something else, that you're not having to, put any money back in the business. You're able to live the lifestyle that you want to live, a comfortable, not the lifestyle you want to live, because you always aspire to have more and to do more in X, Y, and Z, but you're able to live a comfortable lifestyle, and you're able to pay all of your bills, put back for savings and retirement and everything else, and you can take 50% of whatever you have and invest it, then you can start to diversify. Until you get to that point, people who say, "Oh, I have a successful business, it makes $300,000 a year profit, but you're spending $250,000 to live, and you have $50,000 left over," then that business is not successful enough for your lifestyle, right? So if you have a business and you spend $250,000 a year to live and invest in X, Y, and Z, and so you're making $500,000 profit, so you have $250,000 left over to invest. At that point, you can start to diversify, with your money.